and the tape is sitting on her hairline and not her hair. A half an inch in front of her hair, placing the tape maybe about 1/4 inch above your ear. This is very, very important. And where it bends at, that's the part I'm going to put directly in the middle. Made a lane and niggas can't get over. I can't mess with rappers, they be bogus. Rather get the pack and keep it open. Big dripper stand up in the ocean. Everybody trapping, we get lost. He ain't focused yet. We will be learning how to properly transfer head measurements for a custom wig from the client's head to the canvas block. So the first thing you will want to do is make sure that your client's hair is braided down in somewhat small to medium braids, or if it's in a ponytail, you will want to take it out to make sure you can accomplish all of the measurements. So this style is actually just a basic braid back, and the braids are attached. That one braid is going to be looped back in, so there won't be any hanging out. So in order to measure the head correctly, you will need some soft measuring tape. You can find it at your local Walmart, Hobby Lobby, even a dollar store maybe. Now, whenever you are measuring you or your client's head, you want to make sure you start behind your ears, and you want to make sure that you're pulling the measuring tape firmly. So as we go all the way around, her head measurement circumference is a 22. The tape is behind both of her ears, and it's not on her hair. It's actually on the back of her nape. So see, we have here 22 circumference, and the tape is sitting on her hairline and not her hair. So moving along to the second measurement, it's going to be from her hairline, which is going to be about a half an inch in front of her hair. So because she has baby hairs, I always recommend putting the tape like a half an inch in front of the actual hair, because we're going to push all the baby hairs back, but we just want to make sure the cap is not laying actually on her hairline. So in the back where her nape is at, it's at a 14 from the hairline to the nape, and that's her second measurements. Our third measurements will be the nape area, and it will be from one corner of her neck to the next where her hair ends. So for her nape, it's going to be a 5. It's at one corner to the next corner. That's simple. So for our last measurement, this is mainly for frontals. This is the ear over ear measurement. You want to make sure you start placing the tape maybe about 1/4 inch above your ear. This is very, very important. I would not recommend putting it directly on your ear, because the lace is going to rub against the client's or your yourself whenever you're wearing your wigs. So yeah, just like 1/4 above the client's ear. And you're going to pull the tape across the apex of the head, which is the very top of the head. Pull it firmly to the other side, and make sure the other side also is 1/4 above the client's ear. And that's a 12 for her measurements. So I always double check my measurements. So we're going to go through them again, just speed it up. The circumference again was a 22. Her front hairline to her nape was a 14. Her nape was a 5. And we just seen the ear over ear was the 12. Okay, so now that we have her measurements, we can begin to talk head sizes. These heads measure from 20 all the way to 23.5. All wigs do not fit the same. All heads are not made equal. Here you can see
the smallest head I have, which is like a 20, up into the biggest one I have, which is a 23.5. We are going to be using a 22 because that was her circumference. We're going to be using a mesh dome cap, which you can get at your local beauty supply store. They do come in regular size and extra large. I do recommend extra large for bigger heads. This is the back where it has a V shape. This is the front on where it's open. These lines are going to help you for lining up the cap correctly to making sure it's in the middle. So you want to make sure that there isn't any space in the cap. Now here in the front, I drew this line here as my guideline for where the hairline is going to be. So I'll know where the cap is going to be placed, where to start my measurements actually. So I'm going to put a T-pin in. I'm going to pull it all the way to the back firmly. And hers was at a 14. I'm always doing it a ½ an inch longer, and that's to allow some extra stretch in the cap, because when you're sewing, the cap can tend to shrink just a little bit. So for the nape area, because it was a 5, I'm going to fold it over to a 5. And where it bends at, that's the part I'm going to put directly in the middle. And so now the nape measurements, I'm going to bring the back of the cap down to the 1, well, to the 0, and then to the 5. And those are going to be accurate nape measurements. So for the last ear over ear measurement, it's going to be done the same. Since it was 12, we're going to take the 6 and put it directly in the middle at the top of the canvas head. There's actually a line in the middle that will help you. So on each end where the tape stops, we know that's going to be at the top of her ear. That's where the lace is going to be cut on each end. So we're going to mark off those spots. And again, this last measurement is just for frontals, but it's great measurements to have for your clients in case they want to switch up between frontals and closures. So now we have completely transferred the client's head measurements. We have the circumference as a 22, her hairline to the nape was a 14, the nape area was a 5, and the ear over apex to the other side of the ear was a 12. So now that the head measurements are properly transferred, this is when you want to go ahead and sew on your lace, whether it's a closure or frontal. And then also you want to go ahead and draw your guidelines. I do have another tutorial teaching you how to do these things as well. I hope this video was helpful, and thank you for shopping with One Sexy Angel.
For the flight, nigga can't even see me on way out of here to find the sky. Hermes ash for the dark, my ash. Bitch so pretty, look better than